And we're now recording. So the big question is where do we start?
Well, a lot of people usually start from the beginning. But death is usually the end of the story. But in the in-between of the beginning and death, a lot goes on. Life goes on. What even is life? It's all mathematics or geometry.
Everything is triangles and polygons.
Polygons.
No. All right. What is life? A means to gain experience, to understand what it is to be mortal, to be vulnerable. That's what I would guess.
Why would the aliens create that?
Who said it was aliens?
I don't know. It's like really out of pocket. Just the perfect climate for chemical reactions, chain reactions, just to create an ecosystem. Consciousness and, how far we have come to think.
Yeah, definitely coming from single-celled organisms. Planet being engulfed in lava, then water, and then from the ocean, creatures started crawling up on land. Then you have like the Jurassic period, the Cretaceous period. I know I'm not saying those in order at all, but it is interesting to think about how far life has come here on Earth.
And everything's just made out of atoms.
Yeah. Everything is star stuff.
It just comes from nowhere, but from everywhere at the same time.
Probably both. I don't know. I kind of, it's one of those things where it's. I think religion and science ultimately sings the same song but different lyrics. Like poof, everything exists, and then science tries to figure it out.
It exists because everybody in my generation is giving up on the American dream. And they're just making money just to make money, just to survive, or just to mess around, or, be stupid with it. But there's a group, like, want to say, like, leave the country or look for Bigfoot. And I think that's so inspirational. Just your own path.
I wasn't even looking for it.
Yeah, you were just
It
visiting.
just happened. Yeah, that was a very interesting experience. I've had a lot of interesting experiences throughout my life, especially back in Virginia, up in Greene County, because you have a lot of like Civil War battlegrounds, old buildings that used to be triage, hospitals, plantations, things like that. So when it comes to the weird and strange, especially with this supernatural, it's actually kind of weird if you never experienced it there.
I think humanity is very supernatural.
To a degree, to be more sensitive than others, but then it's so some people have some like legitimate. They had this experience. They can't explain it under any circumstances whatsoever, like supernatural experience. And then, as simple as something as like a gust of wind, creaked open the door, and for them that's a supernatural experience. So one of my friend Jeremy, before he died, he was really interested in that, and especially UFOs, but UFOs and aliens, demons, ghosts, it wasn't really my bag. I was more interested in cryptids, but nevertheless, he went on Amazon, and this was probably 2008. It had to have been 2008. I don't think the accident happened yet, but yeah, we ended up going on some paranormal investigations. I was working at this place, the Lafayette, at the time. That place was haunted. It wasn't like super haunted, but you would notice some weird things from time to time. And one of the waitresses claimed her house was haunted, and she wanted us to come and check it out. and I told Jeremy about it. He was ecstatic. Personally, I'll be honest, I didn't really care, but I was more trying to encourage him.
Yeah.
So I went with him, and I was the camera guy. We didn't find anything. And then the second time, and this probably had to be about a couple weeks, maybe a couple months later, he found a old abandoned church up on the side of the mountain of Dyke Road. And unfortunately, he invited his friend Corey, and he invited another friend. I want to say his name was Alex or something like that. And it was one of those situations where he invited friends, they invited friends, they invited friends, and then when we got up there, it was just a redneck party, bonfires, drinking, drugs. Jeremy and I just looked at each other and just like, yeah, we're done, we're out of here. So we left, and we were pissed at his friends that he ended up inviting. And I think a couple weeks passed, he went up there again with the same two guys. Something happened with work. I had to I couldn't go. I had to work that one particular night. And Jeremy ended up getting a this Ghost Hunter starter kit off of Amazon. And he had this voice recorder, and you can hear them, trying to antagonize the spirits. We love the devil, we worship the devil, all hail Satan. And you can distinctly hear all three of their voices. And then if you listen to it, you can hear a fourth voice very clearly say, "Get out," and they sounded pissed. And you can tell that the tone and everything didn't match the three. It was clearly something else. And I'm just like, damn it, dude. The one time I couldn't go, he found something. I was so pissed. I was proud of him. But the fact I couldn't be there, I had to work. I think they had to be around Thanksgiving or something, and there was like a Thanksgiving special or something going on. So where I was working at, we were open later. If I remember correctly, I think that's what happened.
Where's Creek Road?
Which road? Dyke Road.
Dyke Road.
I haven't been back there in so long. It's actually been a little over a year. I went back there for my friend's wedding, but I think it's near Simon Trail. It's before you go over the mountain to go to Elkton. But you get on Dyke Road, keep going straight. I think it would take you to Crozet. It's been quite a while since I've been back that way. I couldn't exactly tell you. I just remember going down Dyke Road. You take a right, start going up this gravel road up the mountain, and there was this old abandoned church up there. I couldn't tell you if it was private property or not. It was just there. But it's not uncommon that you find old dilapidated buildings that are just out in the middle of the woods that, society just forgot about, and then, nature just started to reclaim. But he only went on 3 investigations. I went on 2 of them, and it was an experience for sure. He was really dedicated to it. I miss Jeremy. If he was still alive and you met him, you'd like him. But yeah. 6 months older than me, he died of a heart attack. His little brother called me up. I didn't believe him. I thought he was messing with me. I thought this was probably his whole prank war bullshit. Yeah. And because he does it annually, like the same time every year. Like, he's in on it. His stepdad, his brothers, his sisters. It's just, I don't know why, but the son of a bitch took the license plate off my car one time and put butter on my gear shift. No idea why, but yeah, I do miss him. Yeah, another thing on TikTok, I have no idea why this stuff is even becoming a thing, but I came across this video of this woman. I don't exactly know where she's at. All I know is she's up on the Appalachian Mountain, and her thing is when the sun starts going down, everyone closes their blinds, they lock their doors, and they mention about, you know, getting this feeling of being watched, or it somehow invites spirits in, something along the lines of that. I haven't watched too many of her videos, just enough to get the gist of it. When I was living up in like way up Middle River Road, up in oh god, what was the name of that holler? I want to say Pecan. Bocosin, that's what it is, Bocosin Hollow. And I just lost train of thought. I think about that, my mind just goes everywhere. Ah, yeah, okay. My stepdad built this house. And he has a lot of windows in this house, and he never, you know, really pulled the blinds down unless, you know, where the sun was positioned.
Yeah.
During the night, I always had this feeling like I was being watched. Now, the way how this house is built, the back of the house, you had these, you had the glass door, then you had like this glass panel, but then you had a set of stairs that go up, because it was 2 stories, technically 3 if you count the basement, and then you had like this 12-foot bridge. So my room was up on the left-hand side. Well, if you're going up the stairs, it's on the right. My stepdad's room was on the left, and you had this bridge. So during the night, sometimes I'd have to go to the bathroom. I'd go down. We had a night light plugged in at the bottom of the stairs so you can see. And I'd have to walk by these, well, I can't say 2 doors, this door and this glass plane. And it's like you look out, and all you see is a reflection, because you know how the light has that mirror effect on glass. So I always would have to turn the light on just to walk by that, and it's just, it's weird to look out the window and see absolutely nothing. And you do get this feeling like you're being watched. Now, when I got older and more braver going out into the woods by myself, I would see what I would refer to as shadow people. Now, I don't know if there's different variations of this, or what I saw was different than what other people saw, because some people will talk about seeing shadow people will actually look like a person of a silhouette and they'll have like red eyes or something. Like, it looks demonic and like evil or something. What I would see would be like a person, but they just like dart from like tree to tree to tree. Like, you blink, you miss it.
Yeah.
And I would probably see maybe 2 or 3 of them just darting around. Like, I never felt threatened or anything. I would go out there, I'd build forts. You know, you find that cool stick that looks like a sword or a gun or something. But yeah, I would see them all the time. But again, as I started getting older and going further out, I started getting caught in the dark. And after a certain time, it's like the forest just took on new life. It was one of those things where I actually like legitimately felt threatened, and it's like, okay, I need to drop what I'm doing. I need to get back to the house. And depending on the year, depending on the weather, you know, there's a lot of different factors involved. The spring and summer, you have a lot of vegetation and stuff. So it's like anything can really, if they wanted to, sneak up on you. So I always would be like running in a hurry. The fall was quite nice because the leaves change color, and you can see, you know, a couple dozen meters to where you can actually see, you know, a couple 100 meters. So it's like something can't just run up on you, like you're going to have the ability to see them coming.
Yeah.
The rain was always nice because I felt that, like, okay, if it's raining, it's going to mask the noise that I'm making and it will help cover my scent. And I never approached the house from the same direction. I always came, even if I had to go like through the river and around, I never approached from the same direction. I always would make it random. I really do miss the winters though. You get about 5 inches of snow, overcast skies, big silver moon, and it hits the mountain range. It turned night into day. Like, to go walking out there should have been a crime because you're disturbing the snow with your footprints, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I had a camera and shit so I could actually have taken pictures of that, but maybe it's something I can do in the future. But yeah, during the night though, being caught outside, really uneasy feeling. And then interestingly enough, if you go up Bocosin Hollow, there is a trail that will actually lead into Shenandoah National Park. Like, Shenandoah National Park was literally my backyard. And if you go maybe like a couple 100 feet in, there's this old, like, dilapidating RV. Maybe a 40-footer or something that's sitting up there. And I know that there were two major floods. They called it the 100-year flood. And I think two hurricanes hit. I want to say 94, 95, or it was 95 and 96. So somewhere in that time frame. I couldn't even tell you how long this that RV's been sitting up there. But when I saw that thing, I got a very uneasy feeling. Like, there was definitely something inside of it. And like, every fiber of my being, just like, dude, just get away from here as quickly and quietly as possible. Don't let it know that you're here. And I think I probably saw that RV maybe 3 times in my life. And I got that same feeling every time. So maybe there was something in it. And when the sun set, I was caught out. It's not like this thing's going to come out and immediately find me. Like this thing would have to search to find me. So like, I had time to get home. But again, I would never approach from the same direction.
So you be out long enough, they'll go dark.
Oh yeah. Like, that sun's going out. Like, you ever play that game Dying Light?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. That sun starts going down, that internal clock starts going, and then once it hits that certain point, it's like, all right, you need to get the hell out of here.
Go home.
Go home. Stay in the light. Lock the doors. Put down the blinds.
You said there was a woman from TikTok that goes up there?
Not in the spot that I go to, but I've seen quite a few videos where people are they go on about locking your doors and closing the blinds and stuff in the Appalachian Mountains and having this feeling of being watched, and it's like, yeah, that's true. I've experienced that firsthand. I did not like being outside in the dark. And to further add to this, I think it was probably about, it had to have been 2008. My friend Brandon, who lived in Madison, so where I lived at, I had to walk like 1.5 miles, 2 miles to my bus stop. And it was Fletcher Bridge, and he lived on the other side. He lived on the Madison side. He had an Xbox 360 and he had a copy of Halo 3. So I would go down there and we would play, the campaign. And once we finished it, we tried the multiplayer. And it was one of those things, I would lose track of time. I'd be out there like 8, 9 o'clock, pushing 10 o'clock. And for 3 nights, I had to walk that essentially 2 miles from my bus stop back up to my house in total darkness. And it was just this really eerie feeling. And some nights it was so dark, I had to drag my feet just to make sure if I'm still staying on the road. But the 4th night, it actually may have been the 3rd night, but the 3rd or 4th night, it's like, all right, it's getting dark, I gotta go. And his mom's like, stay here a little while longer, I'll drive you up. And I was like, okay. So when we were done, we all pile in the vehicle. I was on the passenger side. I couldn't remember if I was in the front or the back. And we were driving up this road, and off to our right, we saw eye shine of something that was in the creek. Well, it's actually a river, but we always refer to it as a creek. And this thing did not move like any animal that I'm familiar with. Deer do this thing, what I refer to as the freeze frame pose, where if you catch their attention, they'll stop and they look in the direction and then they freeze. Because when they're standing still, they're really hard to spot unless you really know what you're looking for. But then their ear, do the little swish, their tail. They may take a couple steps and stop again. So it wasn't a deer. Bears kind of have this really mopey, I don't care, whatever. So it wasn't a bear. Owls, their heads are kind of on the gimbal, and his head didn't swivel around. When I saw this thing, the impression I got was this thing was in the river. It was down on its knees, and it stood up and looked at us. And then it turned around and started heading back towards the Madison side up the mountain. And something internally was like, that is what you've been worried about this entire time. And it was far away enough to where all we saw was the eye shine. I never saw no silhouette or anything, just the eyes. And it was just something so off about it. And a friend of mine, Angela, now lives up there, maybe a couple miles from that spot. But I was telling her that story, and she's like, you know, it's interesting. We've had something similar like that happen where she was currently living. So it's like, yeah, there actually might be something up there. So, and of course, there's a bunch of other little smaller stories, but those are some of the big ones there up there in Virginia. But yeah, but the videos I saw when the people were talking about that, like all of that just kind of started flooding back, and it's like, yeah. Yeah. What you got? You're shaking like a leaf, bro.
It's like right now when we were watching that video of Bigfoot fighting a bear.
Yeah.
Seeing a giant humanoid-looking thing in the dark, you can't just exist with it.
Well, the video being broad daylight, yeah, but the dark is something. I don't know. When so the story behind of what was going on in Oregon, from what I've been told, the security guard who was originally on site ended up calling his boss and the sheriff's department at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, like begging for help. Like Bigfoot was like rocking his trailer. Now I don't know if the boss man thought he was incompetent, on drugs, you know, just unstable or whatever, or if the guy was just scared and is just like, you know what, I'm done, send me somewhere else. Whatever the reason is, he was no longer there, and that's how my friend Robert ended up getting the gig. So he heard the stories, and he had this black lab raven, and he started noticing some weird stuff. And he started hearing weird stuff. And I happened to bring up my friend Jeremy, and he went on some paranormal investigations. I was the camera guy. You know, I have some experience in, you know, looking for this. And of course, you know, I know it doesn't make me professional, but I've seen a lot of, like, you know, investigative videos of looking for ghosts and Bigfoots and stuff. So I have some idea. And I had the opportunity to go out there and hang out with them, and I did. Yeah. So it had to be about 7:30, 8 o'clock maybe. The sun was going down. The vegetation's so thick there, the sun just can't get through to the forest floor, and it creates black spots. So like you cannot see inside. And he was hungry. He wanted to fire up his generator. He wanted to cook food. I wasn't hungry, so I was holding off. But finally, he was like, you know what? I'm not starving. I could eat. And he started trying to get this generator going. He had chained up in the back of his truck. Now, I was on the back side of the RV. I was looking down this hill. It starts raining and everything, and it's like, all right, I'm going to help him. Maybe I can do something, even though I know really nothing about, you know, mechanical stuff. And I happened to turn around and started approaching him, and I caught something out of my left peripheral. And it was enough to where I think it was like a foot up to the knee, and then like an arm swinging. And like the hand was like the wrist was below the knee. And it was like 1 or 2 steps, and it was gone. It was enough to where it made me check. I had to double check, triple check, and that's when I busted out the phone and started recording. Now, like I said, with the black spots, the only thing I could really see far back was that tree, and it was probably about 30, 35 feet from me. So I was focused on that, on what was potentially behind it. Whatever this thing was, and I'm guessing it has to be a Bigfoot, but it could very well be something else. But this thing was actually closer to me, and I had no idea until about 9 or 10 days later. to where I happened to look at the YouTube video, looking through the comments, and people were saying exactly where it is, and I went back and looked, and surely enough, I caught something, and I didn't even know it. And at first, I'm sitting there trying to disprove, like, it's a new phone, it's AI assisted, maybe, because we're up on top of a ridge, maybe a light just got through, and my phone picked it up. It wasn't anything standing there blinking, and I went back to that spot quite a few times, and the vegetation's so thick I don't see how light could have gotten through that spot. So then I really started digging around. I found what looked to be large indentation of footprints. I mean, it's not like you're going to see the toes and stuff, but like something big did step there. I started hearing tree knocks. I started seeing what looked to be a large man leaning out from behind the tree at a good distance. I couldn't give you any details, but it looked like, something was just leaning out, looking at me. And I've been at this site long enough because we were there for 6 months. And I patrolled a lot more than Robert did, so I was more familiar with what things looked like. And if something seemed off, it's like, yeah, I don't recognize that. I think there's something there, but it was an interesting experience, and I started having my father send up my equipment, my night vision and stuff, and now I got the solar panels on the van and my thermal. I haven't had an opportunity to use it yet. I'm so mad about that. We got the van running, and it broke down again. I don't know if it's an electrical issue or whatever. But the big oh shit moment for me, well, actually there's two of them, was the March 15th video. I was watching a Godzilla movie on my tablet. I think I said I was watching Godzilla Raids Again, but I think I was watching the movie after that with Mothra. But anyways, I'm watching this movie, and I look up out the back window, and I see like this amber light, like this reddish light. Like it was enough to make me think there was a person with a lighter messing with the equipment. And the equipment out there is worth like a couple $1 million, So I wake up the dog, I grab my rifle, I go out. And I didn't think about this till later, and a few people actually pointed this out as well. When I go out the door and I lock it, and I turn around like, come on, Raven. Like, she was already looking in the direction of where this thing was. But I went and patrolled down the end of this road, saw nothing. I had a flashlight mounted on the front of my AR, and I was like, I wonder what the distance of this thing is, So I turn the light on, and I start spotlighting the tree line, and it's like, you get some really good distance with that flashlight. I mean, granted, that thing cost like $250, which honestly I think was well worth it. And then that's when I saw the eye shine. And whatever this thing was intelligent enough, even before I threw up the rifle with the light on, like, this thing was concealed. At first I thought it was a star, and then I just like the light. And I was like, no, I would have noticed it before I threw the light up. And then it dawned on me, well, what if that's a person up there with a flashlight aimed at me? And that's when I kind of started lowering my rifle, because, I don't want to point my gun at anyone. But, I practically have a high beam blasting, but I have, like, nothing coming towards me. And whatever this thing was leaned out from behind the tree, and I'm looking at both eyes. And then for some reason, the thought came through my mind is, oh, it's probably those guys on an ATV or something coming around the bend or whatever. No sound of an engine, no headlights, no sound of the gravel crunching under the tires. And then this thing leaned back, and it's like, why are they reversing? Why? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me what I was actually looking at, or what I had to be looking at. And all of this goes on for about 10 seconds. And then I busted out my phone and started recording, and I got about 20 seconds of it. So out of 30 seconds, I recorded 20 of it. And when I sent you and your girlfriend the pictures, it was at that moment it dawned on me my phone had the auto brightness. So I turned it off and I cranked my brightness all the way up. I was tunnel visioned on what I was looking at, and I was also pissed because I didn't think I caught anything on camera. It was a missed opportunity, but then I realized I caught 20 seconds of it. I was unaware of whatever it was to the right and the one or two that was off to the left. And they were up on that ridge watching me. That was a pretty big oh shit moment. And also going back to the February 25th when I first recorded, when the rain and everything started coming down, I started hearing footprints, like something large, multiple of them moving. And every once in a while you'd hear a grunt, like a ugh. So, I mean, I do think that there's a possibility that there's a family unit up there. They don't live up there, but they pass through. And then they started approaching the camper at night. And that's when I put up the solar-powered emergency floodlights. Unfortunately, we had one blind spot, and they exploited the hell out of it. One of those things bumped the camper, and I'm just like laying in bed, just listening. All of a sudden, I start rocking, and it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? But nothing ever happened. And then they would occasionally play with the lights. I would jump up and look, and maybe I'd catch one of them running away or something. Nothing. I'm pretty sure they were hanging between the camper and the cargo trailer, which if I open the door, it's probably about 4.5, maybe 5 feet. It's like, yeah, I'm not going outside. I think I'm just going to stay in here. But yeah, it is a very interesting experience. It is very exciting and frightening at the same time to be out there alone and to experience that. And the thing is I never was looking for them. And that was essentially my entire approach. Don't go looking for them. Let them come look for you. That's why I'll sit there and record videos. I'll just be sitting here talking. And even if I'm talking about nothing, and it's just pretend you're oblivious, draw them in. That's how you're going to see them.
I feel like there's like some sort of spiritual warfare going on.
I don't know.
The more our species finds interest in the woods, the more we're going to explore it. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stories that are definitely credible. The Beast of Bray Road, the Michigan Dogman, which honestly I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same creature, and that's just kind of an idea of how large its territory is. The Beast of LDL, all the weird stuff that happened in like Yosemite National Park, and just not only the national parks here in America, but like all over the world.
Yeah.
And some stuff does appear to be spiritual. And then from other things that I hear, other things seem to be dimensional and also extraterrestrial.
Yes.
I had this young man approach me. Granted, he had to do a bit of trespassing, but it was during the day. He drives up to the camper, he steps out, and his girlfriend obviously didn't care at all, so she was sitting there with her feet propped up on the dashboard. But this young man approaches me, and he asked me if like how long I've been up there and if I've ever experienced anything weird. And I was like, yeah, I have, so much so I started recording it and documenting it and uploading it to Facebook. So he starts telling me a story. He may have told me a few. This was a little while ago. Further up the road, and this is like, I don't know, 40, 50-mile road that just takes you out through the middle of nowhere. And apparently it takes you to like another town or something. But it's just like a really out-of-the-way back road. And he was way back there around the 800 mark or something doing some shooting. And he had this feeling like he was being watched. And he decided he had enough and he started to leave. Now, I don't know if it's the same story or if it's another one, but from what I understand, when he was leaving, he had a light bar on the top of his SUV, and he caught something, like very quickly falling out of a tree, and then it threw a log or something at his vehicle. And he told his father about it, and apparently his father must have caught one of my videos and then had him watch it. He knew the area, and then he came and found me. Which was pretty cool, but also it's like, yeah, if people can watch my videos, I really shouldn't, give out the location. But unfortunately, the damage was already done, and I will not be doing that again.
But we are a community. We are a tribal species. So, honestly, it kind of warms my heart that somebody out there recognized it and was brave enough to approach you.
Yeah.
But
There were some people are open to talk about it. Some of the locals have been living up there for like 60 years, never experienced anything.
Yeah.
Some of the old timers, me or Robert would bring it up, and for them it was like taboo, like they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's bad luck.
Yeah, like drop it.
What goes around comes around. But
Yeah.
it's so interesting that we can't. That's also the problem with our hubris. The thing about the Deep Woods is it's explored and not explored, and there's some sort of treaties for exploring it. Being unarmed in the woods, I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you're referring to the federal laws where you can't have firearms in federal forest, that is weird to me. Like, anti-gun laws, I do my damnedest to stay away from politics, but I mean, where I was at, this one guy had a camp about a mile or so up the road from me. He was talking about seeing moose, bear, mountain lions. But the area that I was in, the biggest thing I would probably see is a hawk. The smallest thing I think I would see is like a chipmunk or like a woodland mouse or something, you know? Like there was really nothing medium big game up there, at least where I was at. But you look at something like a federal park where it's, you'd be dealing with grizzly bears and, other large dangerous predators. To be forced in unarmed helplessness, I totally disagree with that. I've always had the mindset, I would rather have it, not need it, not have it. And I did have a gun. I had my AR.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if the Bigfoot or whatever was hostile, I don't know what I would actually be able to do against the thing, because I'd be shooting it with a 22 caliber intermediate cartridge. I brought that up to Robert, and he asked me for a recommendation, and I was kind of joking, but I was also dead ass serious that being an FFL, I know how I could get my hands on certain things, and one of the things I recommended was an AR-15 complete upper chambered in 50 Beowulf, which is a little bit more powerful than the Smith & Wesson 500 chambered in 50 Action Express with like the 12-foot barrel. So instead of having it, as a revolver, you hold it with, I always find holding rifles easier than holding pistols. Long guns are more my preference. I don't really care much for small arms, but he ended up getting one. Kind of jealous, but I'll get one eventually when I get around to it.
It's on the bucket list.
It is on the bucket list. But I mean, with my rifle though, because it's not like security here in Arizona, where you have to go through the training and all that. Like, they encourage you to be armed out there, because you could be 5 miles from town, you could be 20, 25, 30 miles out in the middle of nowhere, and you may not even have cell phone service either. So like calling the police, ambulance, and stuff like that, that's not an option. So my rifle, I set it up to where it serves a special purpose. I have a flashlight on it so I can see at night. This new scope I bought, it's like an ATN LTE digital scope. It has night vision, and I can see about 2,300 feet in total darkness, which the batteries and the IR light's dead. I need to get new ones, but I can take pictures and record video on that thing. And personally, I mean, it adds a lot of weight to the gun, but it really does help. I had to tone down to 30-round magazines, though. I ended up switching to 10 rounds just to help kind of ease the weight off of the rifle, which I still have the 30-rounders, don't get me wrong, but if I'm walking around on patrol, I'll just have the 10-rounder in there. So I got to the point where it's like I need to shed some weight. And since the IR light was dead, I ended up taking the scope off and putting the iron sights back on, and, flip-up sights, and it tones that weight down so much. It's nice to carry that rifle again. But I have no intention of using the gun unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So. But now, since I'm back here in Arizona, even if it is temporarily, I need to figure out how to get my guns up there to Oregon. And I have so many of them. I get them transferred through an FFL. That's going to cost way too much money. But there's some of them that I'm not going to part ways with.
Would you try selling some of them?
I mean, to a pawn shop or something, Probably shouldn't talk about personal sales right now.
You're right.
Feds could be watching. But now, if I had that that 454 Casull, I'd feel a lot better having that than I would the AR-15. Double the power of a 44 Magnum.
I want to become a hunter so bad. Just say, fuck society, I'm going to live in the woods.
Yeah. I don't know. People hunt for different reasons. I would hunt for food. But the problem is that food, even if it is mostly artificial with preservatives and, chemicals and stuff like that, it's in abundance. So for me, there's no point in killing an animal.
True.
So I don't see the sport in hunting something that can't hunt me. So if I were to take out a buck with huge antlers, more than likely, I wouldn't really consider it a trophy, but... Like, you ever seen videos on YouTube where guys will have, like, a bench and they bolt down the rifle to it and they'll sit there and do all the math and geometry and they'll shoot, like, a bighorn deer, or, a sheep or whatever, like, 2.5 miles out? And it's like, dude, you have to give credit where credit is due. That is a hell of a shot. But why? Why? What's the point?
Just throwing stones at that point.
Yeah. I mean, they kill it and you watch the thing tumble off of the mountain, but it's like, hell of a shot. Why did you have to do that? You could have gone out there and put up a 5-gallon water jug and accomplished the same feat.
Just for entertainment?
Yeah. I mean, they probably ate it or whatever, but still, to shoot an animal that far.
Just to prove that you can?
Yeah.
Humanity. It's just been like that.
I mean, I give credit where credit is due. Hell of a shot. And on the first try, too. But I didn't see the point. Again, they could put a 5-gallon water jug up there. They could have put a cardboard box and still, accomplish that feat, and I still would be impressed. It's a hell of a shot, but I don't know. With me, especially living in Virginia, your line of sight is not that great. You have to get close to the animal. Out here in Arizona, hey, you see those mountain ranges? They're like 67 miles away. It's like, damn. You got to reach out and touch animals out here. But I find it more of a challenge to try to get close to them. That's why I don't get a lot of animals, because I want to make it fair. But I guess people just don't really have that mindset these days.
Fair. Life is such a trip. Cherish it, abuse it, create it, destroy it.
You do not exist, and all of a sudden, poof, you exist. You get anxiety, and you die. I forgot who said that, but I was like, you know what? I see that. I see that.
I think it's also about perspective. If humanity evolves to understand the whole the whole reality, the pecking order, maybe the aliens will come down and just explain it all to us. But I feel like they've done it. Like this has been happening infinite times.
Yeah.
And there's only certain realities or certain ways to evolve to that will make sense for everybody at once, and for everybody just to peacefully, coexist in this reality. Mankind is just curious. We'll destroy just for fun.
Yeah. I mean, as a species, all things considering, we are pretty young. But at the same time, though, I think humanity is pretty smart, stubborn, but smart. I mean, look at the tools that we have nowadays. Like that camera. Do you have any idea how that camera works?
Chips.
Yeah.
Screws.
Microchips, wires, sending signals. The cloud. No one can explain the cloud. We're bouncing signals off of satellites and stuff like
I barely
that.
understand that. I barely understand.
Yeah. People are afraid of nuclear weapons. There's a microwave right over there. Nuked food.
Yeah, everybody's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like technology is a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Growing up, I've always been kind of that loser in high school. Video games, computers. You know, I attempted writing a book. I'm actually still. When I get the gumption, I still work on it from time to time. But I finish it. I'm not happy with it. I start all over. It's like I can do better. And I learn a lot growing up, and it's like I can make the story better. I can use my knowledge and implement it and make a better story, more complex characters and stuff. But yeah. And another thing too. What's to say that aliens are even? I guess you could say good.
They exist.
Oh yeah, they exist. But you know, some of the other stories you hear about aliens is like you don't want to mess with them.
So the problem with measurements is everybody has a different opinion, and the precise measurements in what physically is there is like, if you get to know these aliens and they come out being bad, but overall just, you know, take care of us somehow, like, you know, run this world somehow, like the managers, it's like, these guys can do evil, but create such beautiful things. How could I get mad with that?
Or if they're one of God's mess-ups. Or if they're not supposed to exist at all, and spaceships actually travel through different dimensions and stuff. But no, I mean, you hear stories about the Greys.
Yeah.
And then you hear, what was that damn movie called? The Fourth Kind. It was based off a true story. Like, that's some pretty horrifying shit. You know, those are kind of aliens I personally would not want to talk to. Especially if they can erase your memory and hypnotize you. To where if someone tried to counter-hypnotize you and shit like that goes down, yeah.
Recently on the news, they're saying that the government has been using UAPs and abducting people and pretending to be these aliens.
Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
And like, okay, you guys print money and still make me pay taxes. That's great. That's fine. I don't even want to say anything because my opinion is so irrelevant that I won't exist in the next 50 years. Well, my words have so much value. What we say right here, right now, will spread throughout millions of people's ears. Maybe inspire others just to go out and find their truths. Religion really screwed up reality, you know? When you're not supposed to know reincarnation exists, and then you see that it exists, and then you just wait until certain patterns in your lifetime, you know, fall into place, and then you realize you're in this point of your lifespan, you just gotta accept that if it happens again, great. If it doesn't, okay. I have really like an opinion. It's like when you meditate and become self-aware and, you know, what's the word, disassociate, those opinions do matter, but in the longer span of existence, what you are preserving right now is each other's opinion. So it's a bit complicated, but it's all spiritual, you know. It's like we leave this planet, but what does stay when we're gone? The ideas, the feelings,
the energy.
Yeah.
Energy can never be destroyed; it only transforms.
So
don't know if that's true or not, but
that energy is also all vibrational and
vibrations, triangles, polygons.
We are in the soup. We are in the soup.
Yeah.
once you open your third eye, all this information almost becomes irrelevant, and then you just sit back and wait until dopamine hits, I guess. Yeah, you just it's just there's a lot of psychopaths in this world that just don't value life, and I think the aliens value life, and they don't at the same time, because there's a food chain, there's a triangle. The nature is a triangle. If you're not the apex predator, or I mean, once you evolve past all this, it's like, okay, bro, do you, I'll do me. If there's a conflict, it'll happen. It's a never-ending circle.
Yeah.
Never-ending triangle. Snake always eats the tail.
I bet that thing's getting uncomfortable for you to wear.
I don't know. After everything I've seen, heard, read about, and I just look at this reality, I just, like, above and so is below. I say I love it and I'm enjoying it. I'm at awe at, like, everything at once. But I always contradict myself, and I think of the opposite. And that's where the corruption and, personal dilemma. When you disassociate, when you're trying to get the whole picture and, like, the positive and the negative,
Mm-hmm.
you're just looking at the whole thing. You're just like, it starts not to make sense,
My thing is I try to take something and look at it from every possible angle.
Yeah. It could
Sure.
be evil.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. If Jeremy was still alive, the whole extraterrestrial thing, that was more his bag.
You probably would have known more than me, probably.
Probably not. But then again, he might. I don't know. See, I was always more interested in, like, Bigfoots, werewolves, like things that I could physically see, and if I had to fight. But something that I could go up against that I couldn't kill, like a demon or something like that, yeah. I don't want to mess with that. I'm done, deuces, just leave.
Were we even supposed to know?
That's an interesting question. Yes and no. I think we're not supposed to know because we're supposed to just live our lives. But at the same time, because we know, we either have faith or we don't. And I think faith is, and hope especially, in my case, can carry a person very, very long way. But I don't know. With me, it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Some people think the Anunnaki created us just to mine gold. Sometimes I like to think God created us just to dance, sing, all the little things,
The one thing that really made sense to me, I was out in Marana for a little while, and there were these 2 sisters from the Mormon church, and they would go door to door. They would want to talk to you about God and all that. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, they were pretty cute. But their cuteness aside, I am legitimately interested in having a conversation about God, because I don't go to church and I don't pray as much as I should. So it was really good and refreshing to just sit down and to talk to them. And I've talked to Jehovah Witnesses. I've talked to other groups, And there's a lot of things that are similar, and then there's a lot of things that are completely and utterly different. With Mormons, the whole thing, with at least the impression that I took away, was they're more focused on receiving the perfect body. You never grow old, you never die, you never get hungry. You just have this perfect body.
Yeah.
But then, like other variations of Christianity, they focus on different things. But I don't know. It's like Jesus had 12 disciples. So, okay, it makes sense that there's different variations of Christianity. Each person took away essentially what they wanted to take away and built, that variation of religion. So I do think it is important to experience all the different variations of Christianity to get the whole picture. Like as of right now, it's broken up, and you have to experience each section to get the big picture.
The thing about that is, we weren't happy in the garden. You know, like the perfect environment, perfect lifespans. We sought out chaos because we got bored and unappreciative. So,
No, according to the Bible, Eve was deceived by Lucifer, who was the snake in the garden, and then through Eve tricked man into taking the bite of the apple. So I think it was deception. I don't think we got bored.
maybe God let it happen just to see if we could make it back to His style, you know?
Yeah. To born and exist into a world without your father, and to see if you could find your father again. Is essentially what my understanding is what the whole journey is about.
So,
like the whole the what they described to me was heaven is like a city, but it has 3 walls, and God is in the center, and you want to be as close to God as possible. Me personally, I'd be happy just to make it to the damn boiler room and have a cot or something set up in there, you know?
just for something to exist after death?
Yeah.
Yeah, death is a trip too. Chemicals, beyond chemicals. I'm pretty sure the soul is some sort of gravity, like center of gravity with our chakras. Like these energies that like each level of our spine generates so we exist.
Yeah.
It's like if we leave the body, like the spine stays. But this like gravitational pull, like this massive gravity, you can't see it, but there's like a whole area of existence right here, right?
Yeah. That energy.
That just transcends through everything. It's like not a wave, it's like conscious but not conscious. It's like a fish, but it's not a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's in us. I've been told that we're jars for something. And if our souls like fly into like the fetuses, the babies,
Mm-hmm.
how are our bodies like maintain this form of energy and gravity for us to exist in this 3-dimensional existence? Like the creator had to think of all of this, and it just blows my mind. Like, bro, you thought about the details and the world building. How intense is that? That is so intense.
Yeah.
And I think we just lose our minds if we just overthink it. Yeah.
Yeah. I can already hear the comment sections like, yeah, you're wearing the mask and the glasses, bro. You already lost your mind. But I don't know, man.
Life is
It's
a
like-
construct, death is a construct, society is a construct.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's probably best that we don't know and just, learn at a slow rate and just get to the point where we accept it and move on, and then find, the next milestone of truth.
Pop culture is insane. I saw, I don't remember where I saw it, but Jesus got abducted by aliens, and the aliens showed Jesus the truths of existence and harmony, and just threw Jesus back at society. And Jesus literally told us just to treat each other kindly. We lose our minds and destroy this man. Right? We regret it. We only saw that he was gonna destroy our ways of existence in our society at that time. If you treat your neighbor that holy, you won't have any enemies, and that won't create any kind of discourse, and that won't generate some sort of, plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like give or take.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seems to me that you're trying to make the point that what we deem as spiritual is actually extraterrestrial. Didn't see that coming now, did you?
No. I mean,
No, I mean think about it. If
That's-
aliens kidnapped Jesus, and then told him the truth, and then he comes back, that would mean gods, angels, and all that.
do you think we're aliens?
It's possible.
We're a species, intelligent species that randomly evolved on a rock.
And what's not to say that there's another rock with humans on it?
But would we consider them as aliens or as humans?
Human aliens?
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, they'd be humans, but they wouldn't be humans of Earth. It'd be the same species, whether they'd be more evolved or less evolved or whatever, you know. I've been watching the original Star Trek series, and I'm somewhere about finished with season 2. First off, I know people are probably going to be like, well, why are you watching that? And it's honestly, today's TV shows are garbage, and I'm finding the older TV shows to be so much more superior as far as, storytelling, character development, and stuff like that. The effects of that show are so cheesy, but, like, I love the cheesiness, like the B grade of it.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, it was probably some top-notch stuff, but there was an episode that I watched where they were abducted by an alien, and the alien's name was Apollo. So Zeus, Hercules, and all them were aliens. Or no, I'm not really sure about Hercules. Maybe in Hercules, Athena. But they came to Earth like thousands of years ago, and then they ended up leaving. And Zeus and all of them realized that, humans outgrown gods, and then they moved on to another plane of existence or whatever, but Apollo stayed behind, believing that humanity eventually would find him. So that's kind of the entire premise of this episode. But in the end, they found Apollo's sources of power, they destroyed it, and he realized that, humans have evolved and don't really need God. So he ended up, I guess, ascending or going somewhere else. Which is an interesting point, though, that makes you think that what if what we believe is spiritual is actually alien? And I did find that quite interesting. And then I actually finished season 6 of Lucifer. I actually finished that this morning. Which does bring up a lot of interesting points. I'm not as diverse in the Bible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even really know, Lucifer's true characteristics. If he cannot lie. If he doesn't interfere, he just sets the stage and we as humans make these decisions and then we end up regretting it or whatnot.
He's just proud. That's about it.
Yeah. Maybe, but I mean, being a movie buff, you watch all these, I personally love horror movies, but all the different types of interpretations of Lucifer, like some he's good, some of them he has like redeeming qualities and stuff like that. It does kind of make you think to a degree, but it's like to try to separate fact from fiction,
That's why we go out into the woods and look for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Them wizards are real. They're just...
I love this woman. I asked her to marry me. She said no. A few months later, ripped my heart out. I went and found Bigfoot. I found Bigfoot before I had the woman that I love marry me. It's weird to think about. That's like messed up, but also a blessing on so many levels.
Yeah. God, it really hurts.
Yeah, here's this woman that I have fallen in love with so much. I asked her to marry me, and I end up losing her.
That's literally society's punchline.
Yeah.
Girl rejects me. I have a better chance looking for Bigfoot. Finds Bigfoot. I'm sitting in the back like, I want more.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
about the journey. And
it is a hell of a joke too. Like, it happened to me, but it is a good joke. How many people could say that something happened that really just crushed your soul, and then it's like, here's a mythological creature that doesn't exist. It is standing 25.
If she didn't break your heart, bro, you wouldn't have gone out. She put you on this path. You are literally like... That's a life goal, man. I want to see Bigfoot. These dudes fight bears.
They fight bears, they chase down deer and snap their necks and their backs and rip their legs off and just starts eating them. Yeah. But here's the thing, if she would have said yes, I never would have gone to Oregon. I would actually be happy.
I mean,
I still am kind of happy, but I still have that heartache because, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And I still miss her.
Letting go is hard.
Yeah.
But once you don't have the desire anymore and you have that new desire you want to chase after this desire, you will forget about this old desire.
I doubt it.
It's about moving on, honestly.
Oh, I'll move on, but I'll never forget.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that our friendship or relationship or whatever we had was perfect, but I am happy I've gotten to know her and to love her and to spend the time with her that I did. I wish it would have continued, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. But yeah, I found Bigfoot than rather having the woman that I love say yes to marrying me. It's I don't know. That's a hell of a joke right there. This thing doesn't exist. It's mythological. You're crazy.
Other guys usually just go into the bar after that and just waste their lives.
No, it wasn't a bar, but I sat my fat ass in front of a TV playing video games. And then, of course, there was work, too, which I was not happy with work. And then the stuff going on here at the house, it's just stress, and I needed an escape.
Yeah.
So. But I'm telling you, dude, I get that damn van fixed, but whatever the hell's wrong with it. I got the solar kit in there. I can charge my equipment on the field. I got the thermal camera now with the night vision. I'm ready to go back there. I got to get that damn van working. And I'll replace a part in it. It works, and then it just breaks down. I don't know if it's an electrical issue or what. And camping in that thing for 4 days was like the most fun I've ever had. I was making burgers and steak out there in the middle of nowhere. Ah!
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah. And I got a taste of it, and I want more.
Bro, I honestly... For me right now, it's like I have a girlfriend. She wants to get married and have kids. And I'm over here saying, but there's a lot of mysteries in this world before like I get the chance to, settle down. These things are either going to find me or I'm going to find them. Because the law of attraction is so strong. It's almost like existence in general is like you may fuck up in this reality, but in another reality you don't fuck up. Isn't that where you want to be?
Yeah.
That was the whole punchline, the catch and the release. You got desire just to, you see moths, they just fly to that light and just, keep hitting it.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're moths hitting desire,
Mm-hmm.
But my lifespan is I'm like barely giving myself till 50, honestly. Like I'm shocked I'm alive right now. Like
actually, I think at 19 I died for a little while.
Yeah, that's
and the thing is, I was conscious during the entire thing. See, I've never been knocked out before. So maybe I was knocked out or something. I don't know. Maybe I was in shock. I don't know, but they say when you die, the last thing that goes is your hearing. And when my uncle ended up putting us into that tree at like 75, that's what the cops and the paramedics estimate that we ended up hitting that tree. I could hear the metal twisting and bending and scraping. I can hear the glass breaking. I couldn't see or feel anything, but I heard everything.
Your uncle was just fine.
Yeah.
He's like, did you hear that?
No, he had 3 fractures in his neck.
Oh.
They weren't even minor. They kept him in the hospital for 3 days just to make sure. But me, I have my arm partially ripped off, this gloved. I have a tendon missing in my hand, so I can't bend my fingers all the way back. But other than that, I still got strength, mobility. Broke my right leg, like right at the joint, where the socket is, where the femur connects to the hip. Like that got broken in half. So I have a rod and 3 pins in my leg. I got a chip in my spine.
Honestly,
I ended up crawling out of the truck into a creek. And keep in mind, this was January 3rd of 2009, about 1:30 in the morning. So yeah, I got hypothermia.
I think it's pretty crazy. Everything you have told me.
It's going to get crazier.
It's going to get crazier.
Yeah. So despite what happened to my uncle and my injuries, when I was out cold, everything fell silent. I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't breathe. I had like no inclination to, like, what I was seeing was black, like blacker than black. And I felt like I took my hand and tried to wave it in front of my face, and there was nothing there. It actually felt like my arm or nothing was there. Phantom limb is like the only way I can describe it. There should be something there.
Can you rate the pain?
There was no pain.
Your brain literally just gave you the best, what's it called?
Imagine that you were floating in a void and you're just staring off in the black.
Yeah.
You have no...
Disembodied.
Yeah, there's no reason to breathe. You can't blink because there's no eyelids.
That's what separates... That should be, like, the idea of when you separate from your body and your soul will continue on.
Yeah. And that may have been what happened.
Your chakras and your third eye. But your body can be damaged and destroyed.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Like, God is the giant operator just watching us run around.
Now, some of the things that you're saying, is God spiritual or is he an alien?
Damn.
Yeah.
I think there's not even a term for God. If it's like an infinite atom kind of deal, it's like, it's not even labels at that point. It's just geometry and mathematics. But, I digress.
I'm still trying to figure out where the hell you came with the triangles, and I came out of left field with the polygons.
I love that. That's exactly what I want to challenge. I like, this is supposed to be like, supposed to make others think. It's if I leave my body, right, and this flesh becomes sentient and conscious, but it's not me. It's some sort of animal. Like evolution, like all my evolution, like just flew away, and I'm just an animal. If this animal sees my tattoos, what do you think he's gonna think?
Mm-hmm.
Freak out? Like it's permanent? Can't wash it off? Like
I don't know, maybe.
I just sit for hours just thinking about it. Like these mean a lot to me, and I mean like once you really think about what it's supposed to represent, it's like
you should show the camera your tattoos. That's why the feds can identify you.
Okay. Triangle number 1, triangle number 2, plus the anti-possession symbol.
From Supernatural.
From Supernatural. I loved it so...
Yeah, Supernatural had some very interesting points between not only heaven and hell, but what was it, Purgatory?
Yeah.
Where the vampires and werewolves and stuff would go?
Yeah, it's a good separation.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you think you kill a werewolf, it'd go to hell.
God really said, okay, you guys are not entirely human, so I'm going to kick you off into the woods next to hell.
If I remember correctly, I mean, I finally, after years, got done with the 15 seasons. The Scooby-Doo episode was amazing. Like, everything that I would want, like, they did, and it's like, oh, yes. But,
I had to sit back in that one.
I had to rewatch it a few times.
I watched that series like 10 times, dude. I sit there, I immerse myself, and the core message is just community and brotherhood.
Oh, you know what else too? Just a little piece of trivia. In the final few episodes of Lucifer, and if anyone hasn't watched it, spoilers.
I watched it.
The guy, the French Legionnaire, that was the actor that played Chuck.
Yeah.
I like that voice sound familiar. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, oh my God, it's him.
Lucifer murdered Chuck in a parallel universe.
Yeah.
I love to think that it was still God just pretending. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just get murdered by this.
Yeah, but then they got the guy, the Allstate guy.
Yeah.
To play God. Which he still did a good job.
It was...
Can you imagine if Liam Neeson was gone? I mean, not actually God, but like even in a movie. Be like, oh, you listen here. You're gonna be good, or I'm gonna send you straight to hell. You know, because he kind of has that Clint Eastwood thing going on. You know. Like those skits he did where he was Santa Claus and like, Cupid, and I also want to say the Easter Bunny. You know, like he's still like that action star.
I've had a dream of God once. I'm pretty sure it was God because he sent this kind of sent this brainwave like, realize who I am or I'm going to destroy you. And I was like, okay, you must be God. In this dream, I was like kidnapped by like these two men in black, shipped into this mountainside where there was like a huge facility. I'll go into this facility. There's a big elevator, and it's I can't tell if it's descending or ascending. And it's like a mirror, and it's infinite mirror. And there's clouds, and I'm tripping because I walked into this facility, 2 doors open. I walk in, and this infinite barrage of just color. And this guy with curly hair, almost blondish, my kind of color, a little bit, more pale, with glasses, says, "Hi, I'm here to talk to you because something special is going to happen to you." And we go back and forth. I said, "Oh, you must be the creator." And he's like, "Something like that. I'm here to tell you a secret phrase, a special word. You may think it's my name. It's sort of my name. But I need you to say it in the real world. So somehow," like he tells me this like 15-syllable name, and it sounds like Apocalypto, the Holy Tomorrow, Apollo, all these Greek names all at once. And I'm there like, I don't know if I should do this, because if I say this and God comes out of nowhere and just starts, chopping all our heads off, I don't know if I'm going to be too into it, even though,
I don't think I'd be into it, being decapitated.
Yeah, so it's the vibe I got.
Now, if my executioner was hot...
It's like,
well, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen. Let's have fun.
Let's have fun.
But no, to try to wind back the conversation of the story.
Sorry.
I felt like I didn't have a body.
Yeah.
There was no reason to breathe. I had no lungs. I had no body.
Just in a black space?
Yeah, just in a black void, just floating there. And sleep came into my mind. But as I was looking around, and I could tell I was looking in different directions, and all I could see was black, I started asking the questions like, where am I? How did I get here? And then I asked the question, am I dead? And that's when I started hearing voices. Like, when you walk into a cafeteria or an auditorium, everyone's talking. So imagine if it's 0 and then someone just started cranking up the volume.
Yeah.
It just started getting louder and louder and louder. And finally, I just said, shut the hell up. Like, we can't panic here. We'll be in a world of hurt. And then everything just fell quiet. And I was like, all right, I can now think. And I'm just looking around. And I was like, what do I do? And I started asking some more questions. And then the weirdest thing that popped through my mind was, am I God? Can I create something out of nothing? Because I truly felt I was in a void. There was no light or nothing. It was just black. And it felt like for me to not be alone, I had to create something. And then I had this feeling that I wasn't going to get it right on the first try. It's going to take like millions, if not billions of years. And it was a weird feeling. And then something instinctively told me to look back in the direction that I was originally facing when I got into this state. And I knew what direction to look, and I'm looking in this direction, and it's like, okay, now what? And then it was like this bright light, and I wake up inside of the truck. And then I started like moving, checking for injuries and stuff. And one thing that felt weird is that my body felt out of sync. Like, I'm moving my hand up, but then my hand is actually so like my arm and hand is here, but I'm watching, so I felt really out of sync.
But have you felt the pain?
There was no pain. And then all of a sudden, it just, it's like, hey, you need to breathe. And then I just took this massive gasp of air. Like, I probably wasn't breathing for at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so.
And your uncle's just sitting there watching you?
Well, actually, I think he was standing, or he was sitting there with a hand on the steering wheel, and he had a gear shift knob in his hand. So, like, my arm was twisted, like, down in my lap, so I could see the blood, and then I moved it, and I'm looking at flesh, I'm looking at glass, bark, because I think what happened was, when I saw the tree, I knew I was going to hit it, and I immediately threw my arms up to shield my head, so I think when the truck collided with the tree towards the front, behind the driver, or the passenger wheel well, it broke the glass out, and I hit it, and it just swiped everything off. But yeah,
it could have been their face.
Yeah, if I had, the doctors were telling me, like, you know, according to the reports and everything, had I not thrown my hands up, I should be dead. And even before the accident, for the longest time, I had this gut feeling I was meant to die in a car accident when I was around 18. So, like, I was ready for it. Yeah. So, like, at some points, it kind of feels like, yeah, I should be dead, but I'm here. I got to find something to do. But,
Isn't it crazy how your consciousness can just save you?
Yeah.
The last
But see, I don't know if I was knocked out. I don't know if I was in shock. I don't know if I died and had some kind of outer body experience. I was telling my friend 3 this, Jeremy's little brother, and he's really big on the Bible. Like, him and his father, they even became more hardcore about it. And I was telling him the story. He busts out the Bible and he starts reading verses. Like, this makes sense. This verse right here makes more sense. So, I mean, it is a very real possibility. I died temporarily and got somewhat of a glimpse. But the only white light I saw is when I apparently came back. Other than that, it was just dark. I don't know if that was supposed to be hell. Because there was a few guys talking about hell. And basically, it's the absence of God. So I don't know if I was in what was supposed to be hell. So I personally, I don't 100% know.
That's tough.
'Cause I mean, some people, they say when they die, they see a white light. They actually see the pearly gates. Other people say, you know, they die, they go to hell. You know, they see like the 3-headed dog. I forget his name, and the flames. They feel the heat. Where I was a void. So I don't know if I was there. There was a verse. No, actually it was Supernatural. I was thinking about this. Maybe it was Supernatural and something else. It actually may have been the Bible. The dead know nothing of the living because they're asleep, and then the day will come when they will awaken to be judged. That may have been the Bible. I don't know. I heard that somewhere and it stuck with me.
I'm tripping balls.
Yeah. So like Grandma and Grandpa, you know, they can't watch down over all of us in the family because they're asleep. They know nothing of what's going on with the living. And they're just going to remain asleep until they're judged. But then you hear other things where, you know, so it's like what's true and what's not.
I like to believe when we die, we get to go experience a huge DMT trip. And then we reincarnate.
But how many times can we reincarnate?
I mean, whatever.
Because honestly, I mean, who was talking to me about this? When you see the light, you walk through the door, you get reincarnated. But if you turn around, you will see the universe. And if you walk away, you become part of the universe. So it's like an old soul that no longer wishes to be reincarnated. That makes that choice.
Time doesn't exist, honestly. Time doesn't exist. It's just a whole place. We're in a place.
I think time exists. It's just depending on where you are, if it's relevant or not.
Yeah.
I mean, we have measurements for everything. Space, time, you know, distance. So.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why God created us, to just have that sort of like idea of measurements. Because in the universe where everything's always expanding, you don't think about measurements. You just think points of gravity, I guess. I mean, I
think it would be a lot more.
You're exiting the universe, but you can't exactly leave the universe. When an atom dies, it explodes and destroys everything around it.
Yeah.
And
It was, I don't know. It was something about I want to say ascension, like I forget who the hell was having this guy. It may have been you. It may have been someone else. I don't know. Reincarnation is a trick.
yeah,
It was a loop. Was I having that conversation?
you
with
have to believe in the life you're living right now to exist.
Yeah, but if you were faced with the choice of reincarnation or just giving up being mortal and to ascend, essentially is what I understand it, then we're not meant for reincarnation.
But that's pretty hardcore. I don't know. I mean, opinions otherwise, I think it's pretty hardcore. If you say, you know what, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna redo this. I'm gonna redo this. Is it cool, God? Is that cool with you? You'd be like, I don't care. Just do you. I'm here right now having fun. I'm pretty real. I feel pretty real. If I leave the universe right now, what am I gonna take with me to the other?
I don't think you leave the universe. I think you just become part of it or part of something bigger.
We can't even fathom outside of the universe.
Yeah.
And
But see, I don't know.
dimensions. It's all energy. A black mass in a spatial void of energy. If an atom dies, it explodes. But will this atom reincarnate? Religion really screwed up the idea of what this plane is.
Well, you can always pull, the Transformers thing out of your hat. Energy cannot be destroyed; it only transforms. So what you're saying is atoms. So what else type of energy is there than atoms?
Consciousness. And
electricity. I mean,
we keep running the wheel because of our existence, and there's life. Like consciousness all over, right?
Yeah.
You can never destroy this wheel because everybody is different. Each human has like a whole world in their own head. So I like to think this is a whole other thing. I like to think that these aliens, dimensional beings, create a universe just to create a wheel for these living things to run to generate energy.
Well, I mean, if you want to use supernatural rules, a soul would produce a lot of energy, and then heaven and hell would fight over it. So if there's any truth to that logic, it does make sense.
Rick and Morty also did that.
I actually haven't seen the latest season of Rick and Morty. And honestly, I'm not going to pay no $25 for like 6 episodes.
That's fair. I mean, the idea is there. It's like, if life is only energy and our existence is always to strive to creating a new, reusable, infinite form of energy, what matter and what antimatter and what reality is, it's like if you want to be redundant and just keep moving all these particles around and electrons around, like you're just going to have the same results. I want to think of something outside of the box for energy, like if it's going to continuously run and exist, it's not going to die. What kind of properties, what kind of energy source, what kind of... Like, the idea is there. It's like you say it out loud, and it sounds obvious, but you're lost, and you just keep running in circles.
Yeah. But if you die and you're facing that portal of reincarnation, or you just get to turn around and say to hell with it and ascend or whatever happens... Honestly, I think I would be done with reincarnation. But like, all right, I don't want to run this wheel anymore, and then go off to maybe, hopefully, bigger and better things. An old soul, I guess you could say. When I'm done playing this game of life, let's move on and do something else.
Such a trip.
Yeah.
Such a beyond trip right now.
Yeah. But, I mean, you don't really know if it's real or not. I mean, it could be. I mean, it's something I remain open-minded about.
Oceans, they're the realest part of all. Oh, I really love Supernatural. I mean, at the end there, they could have killed Jack just for revenge purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But they literally chose to forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
They literally chose not to kill God, even though he was a dick. And if they would have killed Jack, there was no way they would have killed God, unless they pulled something out of their ass.
Yeah.
But I think the whole point is, if they would have killed God, that is a universe truly devoid of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to imagine the last final blow Dean would have thrown at God to murder him. Everything would have gone pitch black, and the only two living existing souls is Sam and Dean. Their eyes turn red and bloody, and they're just both angry, and they just go hand to hand. It's just Cain and Abel all over again. The wheel just will continuously run. Where will they go when they die? There's an empty, like, if there's a recycling bin of recycling bins, why would we think it's constructed that way? Like, our own perceptions of our existence is also flawed. We will never understand what's really going on. And if we get ever close to it, we'll either destroy ourselves or become something beyond it.
Yeah.
This whole world is so weird. I love it so much. There's stuff in the ocean, there's stuff in the woods, there's stuff in people's brains that don't even make sense. Chemical imbalances. It's just infinite array of different like options and different choices all at once. If infinity exists, we will never understand it because it's just too much. What is even too much, you know? Measurements can only go so far. It's our consciousness that can really, you know, exist in this plane. There's no authority into existence, right? There's no actual rules. You just die.
To live in America, to be fair, you have to pay a monthly subscription.
Well, I'm not going to put labels on fascism. I'm not even going to justify fascism. It's just nature at this point. We're all just trying to exist.
Yeah.
We're all a community that's turning on each other. And we will never get to the holy grail of being true to ourselves and true to God, because we're just going to eventually destroy ourselves. But if that's what God wanted, we would have done it by now, or he would have done it by now. He's already done it a couple times, just because, you know, we literally lost our faith and started fucking with the animals.
Yeah.
Purity, not purity.
I try to stay away from politics, but still, I mean, have you ever noticed that? I'm trying to choose my words very carefully here. That there definitely seems to be a spiritual battle in politics that is actually influencing everything else.
It's all corruption, plus everybody's choices all at once is not making up a good soup. It's like sour, salty, bland. Like this soup I'm living in America right now. I remember something sweeter in the past, because when people first came here to settle, they were literally exploring the woods and chopping down trees. That's literally the basis of Minecraft. You literally start a game in a new world, chopping down trees and fighting the mobs. That is the most entertaining form of the existence you can possibly think of. We left that just to have modern society. And now that we're living in the logistics of our choices, we are faced with the spiritual question, was it all worth it? Our population is 8, maybe almost 9 million, 8.5 billion?
8 or 9 billion, somewhere in there.
That is insane. And 45% of that is old people, 60 and above. And I say 20% of the population is like infants. So there's a little gray area where, like, the 20-year-olds to 40-year-olds, we're all kind of like here trying to mature up. But we're just fighting and bumping our heads. We all want money. That is also the core of our issues. Like, we're not going to escape this reality if we're just going to keep fighting over money.
Yeah. Money's the most useless.
It's so predictable, man. It's predictable. I don't have no other words. The aliens are watching us. They probably know everything. They're kind of thinking, okay, you guys are just going to blow yourselves up. We can stop you. But if the second you guys realize of our existence, your minds are literally gonna melt out your ears, and then we're gonna have to eat it, because you guys can just our genetic makeup is pretty toxic. If you haven't noticed, like we're like toxic beings. We survive radiation poisoning. Like,
Well, if you don't have too much of it.
like we're crazy beings. I love to think that we're spiritual beings. We're beyond space and time. Our geometry in our existence is so pure. I see it every time I see somebody. Like, perfection is just right there in front of you.
I think when you die, your spirit becomes beyond space and time. We're locked in a physical being, so we're subjugated to all of it.
Will you want to have an
I
identity?
think life is just an experience.
Will Doth go through the rabbit hole for fun? Explore that.
I don't know.
ants?
I think I'm at that point. I'm going to choose my rabbit holes very carefully.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the second I hit 15, I already knew I wanted to settle down and have kids and not be evil or be like somebody that would, cause harm. Every human has a choice, and how you execute your existence just to get that choice. You have to understand your values, your morals, your wants and desires really well just to calculate how to reach this goal. And when you're not fully mature and you just go along, like I need a lot of attention. I'm a guy that needs a lot of attention, but I had to think about it for a very long time. Like, our nature is masculine and feminine, but we also, once you understand like it's the symmetry, like there's femininity in our existence.
Yeah.
And once you understand how do you say it? The polar.
Why am I yawning?
Polar differences? Not differences, like similarities.
Polar differences? I don't know. I'm drawing blanks on that one.
It's about how we perceive our consciousness and our overall being. It could become a bit demonic because we're not exactly females, but we sympathize with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was about to get to that point. It's like a realization of like.
Probably have to circle back to that one.
Yeah. Oh, I'll remember. I just had it like right here.
Perhaps it's worth a Google?
No, it's like it's almost like sacred geometry and law of attraction. Well, we are crystalline bodies, jars of infinite energy and gravity, chakras.
I think it's kind of interesting the concept of to be a carbon-based life form. Carbon is a form of glass. I find that I actually would kind of think that we as humans would be more like trees in a way. At least our bone structures, bark, branches, or something like that. Our bones can break just as easily as that, but yeah, to be a form of glass, biological glass. That's crazy.
Living, speaking, and thinking.
Yeah.
Where's your computer at? It's all in here.
Yeah, my computer sucks at math. I got to do math on calculator or on paper and pencil. My math teacher is like, "Yeah, you're not gonna have a calculator everywhere you go in life." Well, who's laughing now? What's another thing I really love about teachers? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I remember I wanted to be a pilot for an Apache helicopter. Well, you can't do that because you don't know math. And it's like, thank you for your confidence. But the thing is, you probably could put me behind an Apache helicopter and I would figure out how to fly it not knowing a damn thing about math. I don't know anything about electricity. As far as like the wiring and circuits and goes, which honestly with electricity is one thing I really don't want to mess with. I end up putting a solar kit together. Which I know that's probably not saying a hell of a lot, but regardless it is an accomplishment. But I don't know, it's just like people are like, well, you can't do this because of this. And it's like, well, you can't be a doctor because you don't have a PhD or bachelor's, master's, or whatever. But it's like, I do have some skill in medical. Crude, but I wouldn't die. At least not right away.
I think teachers were designed just to be spiteful more than, encouraging.
I don't know, dude. Honestly, my experience in schools, it is very, very easy to be adequate on paper. But when you graduate and you go out into the real world, you realize you don't know shit. School does not prepare you for that. And honestly, I think school is useless. I think colleges are useless. Why do people want to pay tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for a job to basically be in debt for the rest of their lives and pay off and struggle with everything else? I think trade schools are more beneficial than colleges.
Yeah. I think it's a marketing scam because they offer a value of like a higher pay of having these certain jobs, but you have to live those jobs for the rest of your life.
Imagine going and being a doctor, and you're studying like 7 years, and then you graduate, the top of your class, you go out, you apply for a job. Oh, well, we can't hire you because you don't have real-world experience. And it's like, what the hell does that even mean? I've been studying for 7 years, and then they start you off at like the lowest possible thing on the totem pole, and then you got to build your way up.
That's just society.
I think it's just all about money. Another thing I was telling you about too, with when the night you got attacked, doing security with the homeless guy with the knife. Like, bro, Second Amendment. I believe in the right to defend yourself, but because insurance companies, some bureaucrat bought out some politician to pass some arbitrary law, because you went from civilian to the workforce, your rights become a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that should be the case under any circumstances whatsoever.
It's like a policy thing,
it's all about money.
Yeah.
All because some other business wants to make money.
I'm 100% sure if I wasn't on the phone with you, I would have destroyed that person, or that person would have destroyed me. I feel like you're like a compass of goodness, I feel like I needed to talk to you to feel better, to feel more safer, and you overall were just part of the experience with me. I really needed you in that moment to really guide me into that one perfect spot for me just to evade him, just to run away. If I wasn't on the phone with you, something bad was probably going to happen.
And if I was there with you, I probably would have beat the shit out of that guy.
We would have detained him somehow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm like one of those crazy sons of bitches, like break glass in case of war.
Yeah.
When shit hits the fan, it's like
uncontrollable rage.
I finally get to let the monster out. Let's do this.
There's also repression, and overall, that is not. I don't want to say unhealthy. It's like it's a sense of control, but there is a sense of like destruction that you can cause if you were obliged to.
There was an old Chinese saying. I don't know it word for word, so I'm going to paraphrase. It was something along the lines of, it's best to be a samurai in a garden than a farmer on a battlefield. I think it was what the hell is that guy's name? Something Peterson. Robert Peterson? He said that. He got the quote from there. He was saying something about, at a younger age, like be a monster, but then learn how to control it. That's what makes a man. That essentially is what he was saying. Was it Robert Peterson? I see his face and I can hear his voice, but I don't remember his first name. But yeah, to use that for good and not evil. Like, I don't want to hurt people, but if someone or something comes at me and I have no choice but to fight, it can be pretty ugly. That's actually one of the other reasons why I walked away from security. Because something was going to end up happening, and I would be put in a position that I would not want to be in, and because of politics, rules, regulations, and stuff like that, it would have just turned on me.
I love to think if in a perfect world, God has created it where we don't need to murder.
Don't need to defend ourselves.
Or defend ourselves. In a perfect world, we're all just kind and loving to each other. In a perfect world, God has created that. But we chose to... It's our fair right just to have our free will just to destroy ourselves and each other. That's why God lets it happen, probably, you know? Like...
Yeah, not allowed to interfere. Just got to let it go.
But in the beginning, he really strived for us to be pure-hearted, just creatures just living in the woods.
Yeah.
Our potential is crazy, though. We're crazy creatures, like...
We built skyscrapers.
Just for fun.
We sent a man to the moon just to beat the Russians in our race.
That was pretty fun.
Too bad we only did it once.
Space is so complicated, I don't know what to believe.
Honestly, I actually kind of thought it was neat. And again, I try to stay away from politics, but when Trump announced that Space Force thing, first thing I thought about was Starship Troopers. Like, I love the Starship Troopers. Even the first movie was great. The rest of them were, yeah.
At first, I thought that was a joke.
It's satire, but it's still great.
But then I realized if there was a planetary, like, evasion of some sort,
yeah,
we have a branch of the military to be like, okay, we can deal with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even then, like, even if with Dead Space, if you don't count the Necromorphs, to go out and fly out to the asteroid belt and mine, precious metals from them,
I feel like they have some
like
sort of conscience.
it means like Star Trek, like it truly would be the last frontier.
Infinite.
Yeah, just keep going, find life, mine for resources and stuff. It would be extremely interesting. I used to have a fear of planes, but then I've been on planes, looking down, from an elevation of like 35,000 feet. It's pretty nice, but then when you start thinking about falling, you get that vertigo. But I mean, to be in space, I probably would have to do it once, just to say I did it. Like, yeah, I've been in space once. I was like William Shatner. I paid like $500,000.
If the government did a whole disclosure on like space technology, like I'm pretty sure they have all the technology they need just to send the entire human race into space if they really, really wanted to. If the human race really wanted just to exist in space.
And I don't think it would ever happen because, if like another planet were to declare its independence, so the problems that we've already faced here,
bring it.
Because I'm sorry to say, but our federal government right now sucks. I mean, like federal taxes, for example. When World War II ended, federal taxes should have ceased.
Yeah.
But they just kept doing it. So, I mean, our government and other governments too, especially dictatorships and stuff, has a very strong track record of, we now have this power, we're not giving it up. And it's probably why we don't really mess with space anymore, because it would just be harder to control.
Do you think World War III is a continuation of World War II? It's all the same labels, all the same back and forth propaganda.
It's probably just probably.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to say a joke because mass genocide is just evil. But as the human race progresses and calls labels, like, the corruption will always exist if like we're just waiting for doomsday to happen at this point. That's what's been like for like the last 60 years. Waiting for doomsday to happen.
My grandfather would watch any and all documentaries regarding World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Even though him and I have been separated throughout my younger years, I would watch the same thing. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a historian when it comes to World War II.
It's all psychology.
But I have a good memory, or a decent memory.
Yeah.
And when you look at the stuff that's happened here in America, especially during the past, 8 years.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah. And it mirrors the Nazi Party in so many ways. Like, oh, we're not going to take down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. He freed the slave. They took it down. They took down Washington. They were burning books. And then when you have, the certain type of books that are in school, young children are reading, like, we feel that these books should not be in children's schools. Well, you're Nazis and this and that. Like, no, it's something that they should learn a little later in life. And it's weird because, I mean, you truly, if you know what you're looking for, history is repeating itself.
Yeah.
But they're taking everything that they're doing and projecting it on the other side. But the other side sees them for what they truly are. And then there's those in the middle where the line blurs, and I try to stay away from politics, but fortunately we've reached this point in our lives where politics does affect our lives, and it sucks.
Honestly, the most recent reports of Russia I've seen is like they're welcoming people to their borders now, and they're just like gonna drop their guard. I don't know if that's like a front. I don't know what society move that is. If that's world peace and we just destroy all borders, I will feel like if we all had the ingenuity just to combine all our forces together and create some sort of habitat that we all can just, exist in, like, sure, society and towns is great, but nature was the ultimate habitat for us. We were supposed to just live and sit on grass. Cancer only exists because we introduced toxins in our environment and pathogens and some sort of like
especially
plastics.
the food with the pesticides and stuff like that.
Diseases only really exist when we're not treating our bodies correctly.
Well, it's certain diseases.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's all about emotions too. So if you're feeling bad, it's because of the environment you're in.
Yeah. And it was so nice to get out of here and go to Oregon. I actually didn't want to get on a plane and come back, but I promised that I would. And I got some business I got to take care of here.
Yeah.
But
I really want to go over there.
You should. If I can get that damn van working. At least working reliably. I mean, it does work. But dude, it's awesome. Like what was that damn movie? Napoleon Dynamite. You remember when they introduced his uncle? He was living in his van out in the middle of the field. Yeah, I used to make fun of that guy. Hey, quit pulling the cords. But yeah, I mean, to park your van out in the middle of nowhere. I got a tabletop grill, propane powered. I'm making burgers and steaks out there. It is really nice.
Problem with disassociation and meditating, I have trouble hearing like people and myself compare myself or to other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're all supposed to be unique and different, but we all have to go through the same sort of type of path.
Yeah.
And that's where I have to accept that it's not bad to want to live in a van. It's the journey to get the van, go where you want to go, and do what you got to do. And that's where
honestly,
I'm having problems
the van,
with.
honestly, to be completely honest with you, that van is a milestone.
Yeah.
A school bus, about a 35, 40 footer. Take the seats out of that. Probably have different solar panel kits for like each section of the bus, so like each thing's on its own system. I mean, you'd have plenty of room.
Yeah.
I mean, as of right now, I mean, my van has electricity, and since I've been here, since we have no internet, I got that Straight Talk wireless hotspot router. As long as I have T-Mobile service, I get internet everywhere I go. $50 a month for 100 gigs. Now, downloading stuff, yeah, that'll eat that stuff up. But I was actually, I've been playing games with Hoover. We've been playing 7 Days to Die on the PlayStation 5. And despite the updates and stuff, I probably only used maybe 10 gigs.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, honestly.
So it's like I can go out into nature and still have limited technology with me. And that right there, I think, is the key word, is limited.
It's almost defeating the purpose, but your purpose is to look for an intelligent life form that resides in the woods that resemble us, but isn't really us. That's such a journey. Like,
You know, my dad, when this house unfortunately does sell, I wish to Christ the family would keep it, but he's looking into getting an RV or a school bus.
Yeah.
And if he gets a school bus, he wants me to work on it. I'd like to have my own because I'm 34.
Yeah.
He wants me to find a woman. He wants me to fall in love. He wants me to have kids. How am I supposed to do that if I live with my father on a school bus traveling the country?
Law of attraction. Just be you.
True. I've been me for so many years. That's actually probably why I'm single.
You have to let go of your past to really go forward into your future.
It's not really letting go of my past. It's the whole thing about feeling worthy, and especially with the whole dating thing nowadays. Like, dating is fake.
Yeah.
It's the most fake thing there is.
Most women want money in a marriage just to have kids.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't make $500,000 a year.
I don't blame them. That's just how society's built up,
Oh, I blame them, and society,
To have
because
desire.
society has failed. And that's another thing about society too, man. I think society has done nothing but to teach us how to fail. Our society is so fragile that if it fell, so many people would be dead in weeks. I think they estimated in 2 to 3 weeks people would resort to cannibalism because they wouldn't know how to get food.
Fuck. Everybody killed all the farmers, eh?
Well, our government keeps passing all these rules, making it harder for them. Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland. And now we apparently got other nations that are buying farmland on our soil. So
Corporate fascism.
yeah. God, what was Chris Farley, who was a motivational speaker who lived in a van down by the river. Well, nowadays, if you save up about $45,000, $85,000, you can live that life.
Lucky, if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Because with inflation and everything, it's just...
It's literally a state of mind. The government has UFOs. What is it gonna take for the disclosure to go through? And they all just start selling UFOs as like some sort of military market. Like, if we're all entitled for a UFO,
Well, I mean,
what's
shit.
gonna stop us?
You
man?
stop and think about it, there's Space Forces transportation right there.
That's
But it probably will never happen.
and then we lose the fight with our own government because they're too powerful.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. That government has morals and probably an agenda they want to strive for. You can't stop them at that point. Mankind is such an unstoppable force.
The thing is, I think if we really wanted to, we could stop our government. Because if it's one thing Antifa and Black Lives Matter has shown the world, even if people don't want to say it out loud, that if enough people throw their hands up in the air and say, fuck it, there's nothing the system can do to stop us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't reached that point. And then you got people going on about possibly a second civil war and this and that, and I couldn't tell you if it would be for better or worse, but I don't know. I just want to stay away from it, and I know that if
It's
a civil
cancer.
war,
Honestly, it's fucking cancer.
it is cancer, and if it were to pop off, I think it would be a hell of a lot worse than what any of us could actually
The
imagine.
way we're speaking about this event as some sort of, predictable kind of arrangement is because it's so implanted in our brains that societal collapse is inevitable. But humanity is a force of nature that's so unstoppable. I feel like the more problems we have, the more answers, the more ways we'll just think of it. It's like the system of the beast. We destroy ourselves so many times to become something better, but we'll never reach perfection.
Yeah.
Perfection is already here. It's nature. It's always been nature. That was the whole punchline. I swear I saw a whole alien video that said, don't think about technology. Think about nature. Don't forget what nature has done and is, how perfect it is. We can't replicate nature unless we create some sort of simulation or terraform. But at the same time, as a human, as a species, what we really want is just to procreate, right?
Yeah. I mean, for a man to have a woman and have kids, I mean, it truly does give them purpose.
It's psychologically embedded in our genetics and our way of existing, the way we think, everything. it's just there. It's never gonna go away. It's such a tune in our heads that all people really have. Fuck all this. I'm just gonna go into the woods and find different. I'm just gonna win society, collapse. Oh, they do all their bullshit. We build, blah blah blah. Oh, no society. Oh, economy. Oh, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what to do or say just to convince the human race to not fight. It's like you'll never
right
stop
now
fighting.
we're not really fighting.
We're just bickering. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still building up though.
It's cancer. If
You know, I thought about it. I actually kind of thought about this a lot. It's kind of a rough draft, but what if America did go into a civil war?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what defines a civil war is a country fights amongst itself.
How literal you want to be? Because we can literally tell the future right now. If you create a timeline in, like, say, in the next 5 years, so it's like 2025 all the way to 2030, and we have little points in our timeline that create our reality. Trump could be president, or Kamala could be president. That could trigger a civil war. Economical collapse. That could be another trigger for... I saw a whole video of this guy who's prepping. He said, I don't give a flying fuck what's going to be the trigger point of a societal collapse, population collapse. I am prepared. I'm in my bunker. Nobody's going to bother me. I have a fat stack of cash in the bank. Nothing's going to bother me. I am rich. You're not. That was the whole mentality. Like,
yeah,
okay,
so
good for you, bro. Good. You know what? I think that's a bit greedy. You have to pay to be in this bunker. It's like being in an ark and paying your way to be in this ark. But in the Bible, God said, don't let any other families into this fucking boat or I'm going to drown you. Only let the animals exist. Fuck all these people. What the punchline is literally the Bible too. Like, everything lines up perfectly with the Bible. Like,
I wonder if Noah and his wife would be dubbed the second Adam and Eve.
Well, technically, other people around the world did survive the flood, so...
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, if they did all die and it was just Noah and his family, would him and his wife be the new Adam and Eve? Like the reset button? I don't know. Just a thought that popped in my head. But honestly, though, to go back to what that guy was saying, oh, I got all this money, nothing's going to bother me, I got this bunker. Well, what are you going to do when your money is worth absolutely nothing and the only value it has is to kindle fire?
That's other the punchline, because what makes a society, it's its people. If a society doesn't have its people, it's not a society, it's just a corporation at that point.
Yeah.
You don't have the customers. The customers are getting cancer. The customers are getting lazy. What are you going to do about the customers? It's always about the customers.
Yeah, consumerism.
I like... thought about this whole reality so much that I'm like bored with it. Like, I'm fucking bored with it. Like, at this point, I want to figure out a unique way of making money just to provide myself and my family. But honestly,
you know,
the money's getting printed at this point. Like, if you're not paying taxes or you're doing something illegal to make so much money, and the government doesn't stop you right then and there, the government's in on it. That's great. That's cool. It's all about the atoms, the chemicals. It's not really evil or good. It's just objects at this point, and that's the evil part when you got to think about it.
Yeah.
It's not hurting you until it's hurting you. It's another problem with society, you know.
Yeah. You know, after I gave up my business and lost my job with Avalanche, to be honest with you, I can't work for anybody anymore. Because once you get a taste of that personal freedom, you just cannot go back.
You've been working for like 25 years. 20 years.
Yeah.
That is
But that 3
tough.
years of being an FFL, Drake's Blue Ridge Arms LLC, I mean, the weaponization of the ATF and the FBI going after the FFLs for little to no reason whatsoever and, you know, accusing us of being criminals and this and that. The bullshit. I went into it because I've been through enough gun stores where people are not knowledgeable of the things that they're selling. They don't give a shit about you. They just want to sell you stuff and make money.
Yeah.
You know? And then you got a person who is uninitiated, don't know anything about firearm safety or anything, and it's just they either don't have the time or they're really smug about it. Like down at Murphy's one time, my dad ended up getting me a pistol. It was a welcome to Arizona present, and my dad I think was working all day or all night, and then we went out to this gun store, and for whatever reason he forgot the simple motion of cocking the slide back and locking it in place. He's tired, and long guns are more my thing. I'm more proficient in long guns than I am small arms, so I don't really know anything about pistols. And I hand the gun off to my father so he can do what he's got to do with it, and he was struggling with it, and finally I took the gun and I asked the guy behind the counter, like, can you lock this back? Oh, you just do it like this. It's not rocket science. I was like, yeah, it's not rocket science, but still, I'm not proficient with, So you do run into smart asses.
Yeah.
So my focus is I wanted to help the community. I wanted to help the police, and it worked for a little while. And then it just seemed like the very thing that I tried to do, they just turned their back on me. And then, of course, with inflation and, people just not buying stuff, it got too expensive. I couldn't keep the business going. My tax advisors were expensive as fuck.
In a perfect world where we don't have to murder or be on guard all the time.
I gotta be on guard here with my cousin.
That's family too. That's just so fucked up.
It is. I don't know why Grandma and Grandpa dealt. Grandpa had enough of it, but Grandma, she just
enabled.
Yeah, and defended him. I mean, he assaulted her before I came here to Arizona. I watched him assault Grandpa in the garage. I asked Grandpa too, like, do you want me to handle this? He looked me right in the eyes and said, no, not yet. And I says, all right, I'll wait for your word. And that word never came.
Your cousin's so damaged.
Mm-hmm. Assaulted my father 3 times, 2 of which I've witnessed. The 3rd time my friend was here, he called the police, so it finally became legal. So I was like, hopefully, all right, hopefully now, because it's in the system, maybe we can work on getting him out of here.
He eventually will end up alone.
Yeah.
The way he's gone. And
he is alone. He has no friends or family in this house. His own mother doesn't want him. He has no one to blame but himself. We tried, but you cannot help somebody that does not want to be
pride
helped.
does drugs just to cope with the suffering. That is such a psychological fuck.
Yeah.
Probably will snap one day, just because he's that.
Oh, he snapped a few times, and it gets worse every time. That's the biggest reason why I didn't want to come back here. But I have other business I got to take care of while I'm here, so. I don't know, man. It's always a fight or a struggle or something, and I know there's going to be a point where I'm not going to have to do it anymore, at least not on a personal level where I'm living.
Yeah.
But, yeah. With everything else that goes on outside those windows, beyond the doors. It's like criminals and homeless people got more rights than we do.
Very complicated.
It is. It makes no
The
sense.
system is set up for you to fail.
It is.
And you can't really live in the towns and cities because society deems it trashy, arrogant.
Oh, Tucson,
disgusting.
Arizona's a shithole, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even like going past Orange Grove. I told Dad I'm not taking him to the airport. He's going to have to find his own way. Of course, he refused.
I hope not.
I find it very interesting, though, that you went out of your way and started taking us around the parking lot, and there's, like, fucking homeless people who are obviously under the influence, like, dancing and shit.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And it's allowed.
You are trying to escape a reality where you don't make enough to support yourself. You are so mentally fucked that you can't sit behind a desk 12 hours in a day. You are so melted in the brain that the only reality you can actually, feel okay in is being under influences and exposed because there's no shelter in your existence.
But you know what's really messed up? They're given free phones and they're given EBT and everything.
Just to give them a fair chance just to exist.
And the one thing, and this is like the real reason why I hate homeless people, they are actually more free than you and I are, but they do not know how to survive.
They will die without society. And that's the hook. They can't leave society, but they can't exist in society. They're mentally ill.
Yeah.
I honestly almost gave up on society. It's like, am I here just to provide a service for you guys, just to turn my back and stab me in my back? Did I say that right? For me to turn my back, for you guys to stab me in my back. Why am I gonna help a society, a species that just backstabs each other, just for fun, just for pleasure?
You know, my father was homeless for I think like 2 years. Best experience of his life.
Really?
Yeah.
No responsibilities.
No.
Just there.
Yeah. Like he would go when he would find work.
Yeah.
And he'll go to McDonald's. Of course, McDonald's, you know, you can actually get like a sandwich for $1 or less.
Yeah.
And he would get the thing that had the most calories. But I mean, his camp, the bathroom, like everything he had set up, way out in the middle of nowhere, like no one would find him. And it was the best experience he ever had. And I had a taste of that too. And it is.
It's more opportunities.
Yeah, see, I don't understand why people don't. I mean, not all homeless people are, you know, mentally messed up. I mean, definitely, you know, drugs, emotional problems, financial issues, and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I walk around the city, and it's like I see homeless people sitting under a tree, no shade, cooking under the sun. It's like 110 degrees outside. And it's like, dude, if I was them, I'd go to a higher elevation. I'd find a place with fresh water. You know? I'd basically be filming alone out there, you know? I'm not saying that I'm top-notch professional, but I wouldn't be living the way they would be, digging through trash cans and stuff.
Experiencing the real world.
Yeah.
These guys are stuck. There's no, like, I like to think if all the borders were down.
Well, I mean, our borders are down.
Like,
let's be completely honest about that one. Our southern border is non-existent. And that's another thing, too. Because of that, our justice system is practically non-existent. It irritates me that law enforcement officers, even on a local, state, or federal level, pick and choose what laws they want to enforce and which ones they completely disregard. Like, could you imagine driving down the road and a motorcycle cop pulls you over and writes you a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt? Well, he doesn't have a seatbelt on his vehicle. Now, I know some people will probably make the argument, well, if he crashes, he needs to get off his bike. You're inside. Like, I don't care.
There's too much hypocrisy, and the more we talk about it, the more they're going to outthink our way of thinking. So, at this point, it's just hypocritical at this point. No point of fighting. It's immature. It's honestly all immature.
Yeah. But here's another question for you. Name me one law a law enforcement officer at some point or another hasn't killed somebody to enforce. Is it really about safety? Honestly, I'm at the point to where if an officer be like, well, that's a fine, and I'm like straight to their face and be like, it just means it's legal for a price, bro.
They will just pull out a gun after that.
Yeah.
Well, fascism comes in all different shapes and forms.
We were down in oh god, what's the name of that damn place? I want to say Patagonia.
Mm-hmm.
And we were hunting. My dad had a concealed carry permit. I didn't. But I had my pistol in on the table because I had my table and I had my laptop. We had the generator and all that stuff. He was carrying his, so this border patrol woman approaches the camp and starts asking him like a million questions. And the whole time I'm sitting there looking at this blonde woman, I'm thinking, we're this close to the border. We have so many illegal, like the whole caravan situation. And I'm just sitting there thinking, who is this woman to dictate when, how, and if my father can defend himself? And then I started thinking, you know, we've had family members in the military. We had family members that perished in the Pacific Theater in World War II. We had family members that were law enforcement officers. We can actually trace our family lineage all the way back to fighting Indians and saving people that got captured by Indians who were being tortured and raped and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, my family have killed and bled for this country, and I'm just sitting here, like, listening to this woman, like, why do you need a concealed carry permit here in a federal park when Arizona is a constitutional carry state? Like, it makes no sense to me. And I think it's just
Ownership.
control, obedience. It has nothing to do with safety.
Yeah.
I actually thought about becoming a law enforcement officer going into the military.
Yeah.
And honestly, with everything that's going on, I'm glad I didn't do it. I honestly think America, like, freedom is America's greatest lie. I don't think that we actually are free. You look at the level of censorship. Yo, you can't say that, and that's another thing.
It's the system of the beast. You raise the kids in these schools that resemble prisons,
Pretty
inside districts of housing, in systems of housing inside blocks of like neighborhoods, and you're just like stuck in this town of imprisonment.
Yeah.
Nothing you're gonna do or say is going to get you out of it. And if you try to escape and if you're not quiet about it, you'll somehow get arrested or murdered. Like,
probably there's this one guy on TikTok. I actually think he's down in Marana somewhere. He was saying something about try buying like an acre, like a couple acres of land and building a town, make it as self-sufficient as possible, and the government would basically roll in and stop you. Because they need you to be part of the system.
That is fascist.
Yeah. I mean, now take that a step further and try to build a city or a
make
small
bullshit
town.
rules to make people follow you.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Keep going.
I was pretty much done, but I think insurance for vehicles.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing for insurance is the state police can't take your vehicle. Okay, well, isn't that implementing eminent domain on my property and I'm entitled to fair compensation?
But at the same time, you own nothing. And that truck, that car, that vehicle does not exist because 40 years from now, are you going to be here on this planet? Are these people really going to care about your existence enough just to give you that printed money? Do you even value that printed money?
We don't even really have printed money.
You disconstruct existence in reality, and then you just sit back and think, why am I overthinking it? My girlfriend's grandmother told me, stop overthinking about reality, dude. That's what God is there to do for you. Why are you questioning things? Why aren't you not just enjoying your existence?
I don't know. That's a question only you can answer. Me, I just see everything that's wrong. I want to make it better and have no position to do anything about it.
It's all a sense of control. Plus,
and obedience.
Obedience is like not letting those intrusive thoughts win. Everybody has intrusive thoughts, and I don't know where they come from. It's just the worst evil thing you can possibly think of doing at that moment. And if you think about, what is the worst possible thing you can think about, that is the intrusive thought. That's what that window you open up just to let in. It is a toxic thought process, but meditation is supposed to like let you have an open mind view of everything you could possibly do and like focus and control your reality. And it's not yours to control. It's really just God just fucking with you.
I'm not talking about control. It's just that, like, even when I was working with security, my biggest complaint was security officers should not be alone. Teams of 2 minimum.
Yeah.
That site you and I worked at, that mall, easily 2 4-person job.
There's reasons.
And then that one guy, because I'm trying to restrain from saying people's names. I don't want to dox them, but a particular individual was more interested in giving me a psychiatric evaluation to tell me how smart he was. He's got a PhD in psychology, and he asked me too, what are some of the things that we can improve on around here? And every time I gave him something, he just threw it right back in my face. I told him, like, each shift it needs to be at least 2 security guards for safety purposes. Well, we can't do that because what if you don't like the other person? And I was like, that would be a moot point because that person would be on one side of the property, I'd be on the other side of the property.
That's funny as fuck.
Well, only half of the work would get done.
That's not existence. It's all hypocrisy, honestly. Like, work is like the homeless create the need for security. The villains.
It's not even that. It's these kids.
Whatever
Nowadays,
creates the need. Whatever creates the need whatever regulations and just overall what you're getting paid to do, the service, the reality is it really doesn't mean anything. That's crazy,
Dude,
bro.
we were guarding a parking lot at a mall that was being demolished and is now a construction site. Like, what were you and I really doing with our lives?
Speaking our truth. Honestly, I was walking for 3 months straight with that old guy. His name...
Don't say his
I
name.
don't want to say his name. He's a dickhead. Fuck him. He's like, his name? Jeff. His name's fucking Jeff. Dude yells at me for not following him around. I literally don't even want to fight back. This dude's old. I don't give a fuck. He's told me his entire life story, how he fucked up, became an alcoholic, drunk, fucking lost the love of his father, still uses his mom's money. Like, dude's alone. He's 50, doesn't have kids, wants a wife, but he's such a stubborn male that he's just a dickhead. Like, bro,
Yeah.
you sound like a CIA agent trying to pretend something just to get me convinced that you're a normal person,
Yeah.
even though you're a sad person. Probably has a secret fucking family somewhere. Who cares?
Yeah.
I honestly, like, lost a good job because I couldn't sit next to him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I was willing to sit next to him, but they could tell I was not in the mood to be around him anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
That job was okay. It was okay at first. There was people who had negative influences around me. I was just taking all of it in. I did make a few mistakes, but at the end of the day, I'm still human. I still have value. No matter what they take away from me, whatever I am, whatever they think I am me. I will continue on.
Yeah.
Unless they execute me. That's fair. Execution is like, I say, normal for a fascist society. There's no way of creating a real security because security is an illusion.
It is.
It's
all,
just...
all you want to know what the whole point of security is nowadays? That nobody wants to talk about? Increases property value. That's it. They want us to patrol. They want us to do all of this stuff, but we don't have the tools or the power to actually enforce them.
The company makes contracts and they're getting paid more in the package than they're actually paying the actual security guards to walk around this property.
That's debatable.
Honestly,
some companies like Allied Universal, I believe that 100%.
The owner of the Avalanche told us about the contracts and the bundles they have. And I'm like, dude, you get paid this much a month from this plaza and only give me 15, and you take up the whole dividend, and then at the end of the year you take up the entire dividend and say, well, we made $2 million profit. Everybody still gets paid 15. Everybody doesn't even get insurance in any kind, but the owner gets all that revenue and continues the legacy. That's cool. That's great. I don't really agree with communism. Communism would be like if we all got paid the same, even the owner, and then we would just distribute the funds. I mean, if I was getting paid all that money, I don't think I'd be staying in this society long enough for me to be, like complaining.
All the money that I was earning, I was keeping my business afloat. I was trying to get some contracts going, so I could have steady supply of reliable customers. But
you can't really escape society until you really said, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go look for Bigfoot."
and that's what I did.
Fuck this shit! I'm just gonna go look for Bigfoot.
Oh, is that a werewolf? Oh shit!
It's better than sitting at a desk for 12 hours a day.
Yeah,
And if it engages, I guess that is my cue to fight back. And I use the entire force of humanity's evolution upon this foul creature, which is probably like a dumbass creature with no IQ.
Can you imagine working at Walmart? Your legs are hurting. You pull up a bar stool or something, and you're sitting there ringing people up, and then you get that like handful of. Actually, it'd probably be a lot of people complaining that you're sitting down is unprofessional.
Dude,
I'd be like, dude, it's weird that you care. Like, if me sitting down irritates you, wait till you find out what a damn office job
you can't
is.
escape the matrix without money, and it's all just at the same, at this modern day slavery shit. Honestly, whatever makes us happy. I mean, I don't believe in this electoral system either. I keep getting messages. Who are you gonna vote for, bro? Does it even fucking matter? It's scripted. It's so scripted beyond the point. Like, Kamala is basically the president right now. Fucking Biden couldn't even wipe his ass like 2 years ago. Trump has ego. Trump is a superstar. He was in Hollywood. Has real estate.
Got a lot of swag.
I'm trying to like process my own reality. Like, do I really need to be here to participate?
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay a subscription just for me to exist here. If I leave somewhere else, they still expect me to pay that subscription. If I die, whatever money I had or whatever objects I had or owned.
You mean the stuff that you bought's already been taxed, which will be taken away, redisputed, and taxed again?
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
So,
yeah.
I mean, for the system of the beast to take up every inch of that value and just push it out after I'm gone, that's a cool system. I mean, I die and I just think, if I was immortal and I had all my fucking shit, like my mountain full of gold coins and boats and RVs and Jeeps, I'm just gonna sit there and look at it. Like, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? That's the other thing about life. You just make up these realizations and just keep going. And if you want to reincarnate, that's like, you get to enjoy it in many different angles. That flow, man, that flow state. This is like, what time is it? It's been
308.
308.
Good caliber.
Oh, triangles and polygons.
Triangles and polygons and vibrations.
Yes. That's all that really. I snapped, bro. Like, I literally thought of reality. I'm here thinking of reality. I just can't stop thinking about reality. I'm 17 and I'm just dying of reality, and I'm like, fuck this, triangles. And it's all that makes sense. Everybody's doing it. They don't realize it. They're all doing triangles. A man is a triangle pointing to the sky. Females are triangles pointed to the ground because they're fucking opposite to us. But somehow we're the same. Like, we're supposed to have each other's attentions in heart and overall, sustain our future together. Like, what future? What the fuck? What kind of future you want to build? Like, I don't care if we go back and recolonize the ocean, the space, the woods. Like, whatever makes the female happy at that point. Like all I care about is procreating. At the end of the day, I really just set my eyes on procreating. Even though if I could not procreate, if I can't find the right woman or I can't get married early enough, it's like God's really making those decisions. And that's fucking awesome. I don't have to overthink that part. I just really pray to procreate.
Yeah.
And the government prays I procreate because this government needs them kids to run these fucking machines. That's been the fucking joke for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
We are stuck in this perfect system. It's a perfect system.
I think it's a joke that's been going on since, 1913?
Yeah.
The private federal reserves became a thing.
Honestly, stop giving a fuck about society. Go into the woods and look for Bigfoot. It's the most fucking, backhand, fuck society. I don't need the government. I'm busy looking for Bigfoot now.
Yep.
I don't need women. I'm looking for Bigfoot. The government can't take away your attentions, your desires.
Oh, you owe us a bunch of money. We're throwing you in federal prison.
Bro, Elon Musk is creating brain chips. Brain chips that are able to reconnect your nerves, display your thoughts on a fucking computer screen. We're this close to becoming a simulated species. Bro, if Elon Musk wanted to pull a,
He did the trials on that, didn't he?
Yeah, the hive mind,
Yeah.
they control people's thoughts. Dude, what becomes real after that? You're one shy away of 1984. You get a chip. Oh, now I have to do fucking factory jobs now. Fuck all my thoughts, my beliefs, my desires. I'm a robot because I have a chip in my fucking brain.
A biological robot. I'm a biological organism.
It's so...
T-800.
we're pure beings of light and crystal. What else do we need to be told until we realize that we, as a species, have so much potential to love and nurture.
Here's a question for you. If given the opportunity, would you get one of those chips installed?
No.
I wouldn't either.
Fuck no. What?
Unless they can somehow boost my intelligence or something, maybe.
I know dudes that want robot fucking shit. Like, bro, why would you want robot shit?
Like a really cool prosthetic limb, I can understand, but I don't know. What the hell was that game? Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Have you ever played that?
No, I've seen a little bit of gameplay. The character modifications is cool.
Yeah. I don't know, like the psychological aspect behind that, to have your body mutilated. Like, I played that game several times and went through it, like the gorilla arms, the mantis blades, and stuff like that. It's a really cool concept, but to actually, if I was offered that, I don't think I would take it.
Very psychological. I mean, honestly, after my friend who doesn't have his leg said it'd be cool to have a robot leg, I shot him down. I'm like, dude, why? That's like, I mean, unnatural. That's not supernatural. That's unnatural.
Yeah, but I mean, if he lost his leg in a car accident or something and a replacement, yeah, I totally get it. But I mean, for me, it's just one of those things. Like, you have a loved one that passes away and you're looking at their body. Yeah. I mean, that's a very uneasy feeling. Can you imagine just sitting here and like you're looking at your robot arm, and then you look on this tray of ice, there's your actual biological arm that you willingly had cut off. Like, that piece of your body's now dead, and now you have it replaced with a machine. I don't know. It's I'd
be kind of bummed out.
It's one of those things where it's like, we have the technology to do it. Should we do it?
It's a person. That's like a personal choice. Like, everybody has a choice. I mean, like, having a robot leg after losing your actual leg.
Completely understandable.
It's
but
like,
to willingly give up a body part for something synthetic like that.
I try to be very sympathetic, empathetic about, fuck, maybe he has a point. He probably would be happier with a fucking robot leg.
Probably.
And I'm here shitting on that idea because it might exist, it might not exist, but the way I interpret it, if I have some sort of opposite like reaction to something, usually, it'll come true faster because the law of attraction. It's like when you have a positive reaction or a negative reaction, whatever you put out in the universe will come back around some sort of way or another. Like, I feel like if I was glorifying having robotic limbs or some sort of, virtual reality, maybe it'll speed up the process and make everybody else in society have the same thoughts. It's like, I don't even want to have any thoughts anymore. Like, I don't want to have any kind of like influence in society or humanity. Like, humanity needs to do its own thing, and I'm just going to enjoy it no matter what it does.
I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that we just don't really have conversations anymore.
Yeah.
And if we do, it's just. I try to have a conversation, even with family members, and just be called racist, bigot, Islamophobe, like every name under the sun. Yeah. Like, even heathen. And it's like, and to even ask a simple question and to just, like, hey, I don't understand this, explain it to me. And then, they can't explain it to you, so naturally you're the bad guy.
God only can judge you.
Yeah. That's why I think podcasts and stuff are becoming so big, is because you like, people sit there and they watch people having a conversation.
It's crazy how society became so repressed and depressed too. Like,
yeah,
that
definitely.
We need to have some sort of content that would simulate a natural, physical,
conversation.
Like,
yeah,
people need real shit in life, and society's taking that away.
Yeah. Apparently on YouTube, they want you to have a license, like some kind of radio license or something, to have a podcast. There was something.
Taking my rights.
I want to say it was an email or something.
God is a triangle. Sorry, guys. You guys are worshipping a triangle every single days of your life.
Or is a polygon with vibrations.
Your third eye that helps you navigate your reality is part of two other eyes that makes up a triangle. Sorry, guys. The Holy Trinity? I don't know. I really, really just like the food chain, everything. I just said, fuck it. This all looks like a triangle. You can't lie to me, God.
That right there is another big joke.
You had me at triangles. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the biggest jokes of our modern society is that people think the laws of nature does not apply to us anymore.
But it's a fucking triangle.
I mean, it doesn't even matter. That's a moot point. But
damn, fuck.
I mean, seriously, like, our society has failed so hard. Go to the store and buy meat because there the animals don't get hurt. I'm sorry, what do you think that meat came from and how did it get there? Oh, I eat plants because I don't want to kill an animal. Well, a plant, like a tree, is a living thing. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, plants actually get depressed. They get happy. They reprocreate, you know? Yeah. It's I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like good and evil doesn't exist, and it does. And people cannot or just will not see it. It's I don't know.
It's corruption too.
It is. All right, we're at 2.5 hours. Let's call it.
You sure you want to call it? I feel like I can keep going because I have like a couple more questions here.
Okay. Go with the question.
Here's a big ass question: is your dad a psychic? Was he part of the MK Ultra experiments?
No.
He's not a psychic?
He
seems very centric. He open-minded. He outthinks. He reads minds. I don't know.
He kind of has the ability to read the room.
Oh.
Him and I can finish each other's sentences. Sometimes we'll just sit there, something will happen, we'll just look at each other and bust out laughing because we both are thinking the exact same thing. And honestly, he said the coolest thing about, you know, having a son is because, you know, him and I are essentially the same. So it's just that connection, that same mentality, and just, you know, it is interesting.
That love is deep, man.
Yeah.
There's a different kind of love.
Next question. I don't have notes.
Well, I already asked you if you were an alien. You said yes and no. Polygons.
Triangles and vibrations.
I snapped. I was like, you know what? You can lock me away, take away all my money, take away all my rights, and all my whatever I am. But you're not going to get rid of this. You're not going to get rid of my triangles. Because it's so embedded in reality that I'm going to just go along with the truth. It's all triangles. I'm going to die knowing triangles.
Unless we truly are in a simulation in Polygons.
Oh! All right, okay. But literally, I got these tattoos like because I know I'm gonna die, and I think the last things I want to see is triangles and the sun. This is supposed to be a sun, the purest form of energy.
I think your phone's vibrating.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Any more questions? Because I'm basically out.
Oh. What would you want to name the video or the podcast? I'm thinking checkpoint. Something interesting.
I have no idea.
Like we shall continue this.
Yeah.
This is a good talk.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
I've been thinking of this name for like the past 2 weeks, or since when you were in Reedsport when we were talking. You said podcast, and I'm like, checkpoint. Who else is using that name? Checkpoint.
I don't know. Probably like 25,000 other people.
Tribal species.
Yep. All right. Let's call it here.
Bye.
Laters.